Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the podcast. It is Joe and I once again. Joe is actually up in Marquette. He was when we did this podcast as well. We did it over the computer. He's up there in the woods hunting boar, giving guided hunting tours, I believe. But we figured we'd get together and do a podcast. We're trying to figure out the streaming and everything, and we kind of got limited technology right now. But this worked out quite well. We did have a technical difficulty in the middle there. You'll see as far as the sound goes. So, but as far as everything else, the content goes, I think it's pretty solid. So, hopefully it inspires you or entertains you or just fills up your day with something positive. We enjoy doing this, and we very much appreciate all the listeners. So here is the podcast welcoming Joe Bonino. Yeah, dude, drinking a lot of water is probably really good too.
Yeah, I wake as soon as I wake up, I'll drink at least 2 glasses.
Yeah, I mean, I have just like a bottle that I refill every day. And I'd
Every day.
probably, like, from like 6 when I wake up to like 10 p.m., I've probably had like 4 or 5 bottles. Mm-hmm.
Did you see me?
Yeah. I don't. My screen goes black because I'm not doing anything with it.
Oh, I was on the screen.
Oh.
But you carry a water bottle around?
Yeah, like in the mornings and
Hey,
stuff.
let's start. You want to
Okay.
officially start?
Yeah, let's start it.
Because we've been talking about kind of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah, start it up.
you start. You're the host.
Oh yeah, shit. Okay.
You got to do the whole Millennials thing.
You want me to? We haven't been doing that lately.
We haven't? What?
No, I've been adding in intros. You notice that?
Oh, yeah.
I like doing that.
So you do the intro, then you're just like, "Hey, what's going on?" You ask a
Yeah,
question.
like we could just be going this whole time.
Oh, okay.
Have you been recording?
I just started like a couple minutes ago.
All right, let's just
So
keep
you
going right from here. Let's just keep
really?
it going. Yeah,
The first word was water.
that's fine. I'll edit it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
No,
cool,
no,
man.
I drink a lot of water like from like 6 a.m. to like 10 p.m.
Like
So like when I
constantly?
yeah, like when I first wake up, I'll be sipping on my water on the way to the gym. But then when I start working out, I am going to the drinking fountain like 2 or 3 times, refilling it throughout my sets.
Yeah. Dude, I do that
And
too.
and I'm just chugging. And like after I get out of the gym, I piss for like 2 hours straight.
I do the same exact thing, man. I think
Yeah.
it's when I was lifting and stuff, I was getting lightheaded and I wasn't feeling right and
Hmm.
I just started drinking tons of water and maybe I don't know if it's placebo, but I don't get lightheaded anymore.
I think that's kind of why I do it too, because I get lightheaded as well. And I just noticed
Yeah,
that I don't, it helps. I
for
don't know if
sure.
I think that's more of an oxygen thing though too. The lightheaded.
The lightheadedness. You're not breathing.
Yeah,
Dude,
you might not breathe
I
right.
totally focus on my breathing like every exercise. I make sure
Yeah,
I'm like like I can hear myself breathing.
right.
Maybe I'm just not breathing enough in. I don't know.
I don't know.
I
All
don't
I know
have
is
that. Go
one
ahead.
time Schluter was talking to me, and I was asking him if he listens to music when he lifts, and he says that he doesn't because it's distracting him. And at first I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like you're lifting weights, like don't you want to be distracted? But it's not really. You have to kind of think about lifting when you're lifting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh,
To get the full benefit from it, like you got to be focusing. If you're just because you can go in there and just go through the motions and get your reps in, but I think when you really focus and try to feel each muscle,
okay.
you know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I
Like
know.
next time you're like doing a curl or something, start to look at your bicep and flex it extra hard while you're curling and squeeze it and really take your time, and you'll
Yeah.
notice it's like holy shit. I can get so much more out of this than I have been.
Okay, I see what you're
You know what I,
saying. So
yeah.
really, really focusing on your form,
Focus, yeah, exactly.
and
You got to
it's almost like yoga. Have you been doing
I
yoga
haven't
at
done
all? No.
none. Not I've never done it in my life.
So that's kind of like what it yoga is all about. Is that you're getting in touch with like your fingertips and your spine, and you're thinking about all of these different muscle groups while you're using them,
Uh-huh.
and then you can really, really stretch things just because you're super focused on how it should feel and if it's hurting too much or if I can push myself just a little bit extra.
Right.
And no, I translated that to weightlifting, definitely. Like making
Yeah.
it really puts you back in touch like with your body, yoga. And so
Right.
so now like I was doing face pulls today. This is an example, and um, pulling them like right by my ears, kind of
Oh
from
yeah.
higher up.
I
And
do. I'm on the same thing as you.
yeah, yeah. And if
Yeah.
my if my shoulders are like set forward, they're a lot easier. But if I like sit my shoulders back and try to rest them, and I'm just using my biceps and stuff, then it's a lot harder.
So if you're like leaning back
You're
in a
leaning
way,
back a little bit, but then your shoulder, you're not shrugging, you know? If you're
right.
shrugging, it's easier, but if you keep those shoulders down and you're trying to pinch your shoulder blades, it makes it a lot harder, so much harder.
So you do face pulls with like the rope machine, like there's like a cord, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Like
do you like put it up at like eyes level and then you pull it straight towards your face? Is that what you're
I
doing?
usually put it higher, and
You
then
put it higher?
yeah, I lean back a little bit and then pull it
Okay.
towards myself.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
like
I do it. Yeah, I do it like face level and then I lean back and do that. I should try it out higher then.
I don't know the exact way to do it, but
I
I
don't
w-
think there's one way.
yeah, man. I think it's just if you're feeling it.
I feel it, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I noticed some of the exercises that you do, like you have to really focus on your form or else you're not going to get anything out of them. Like you can do a bicep curl and like no matter what, you're going to do it right.
Uh-huh.
It's easy. But like if you're doing something like a Russian deadlift, or is that what is it? That's what that's called or something
Romanian.
like Romanian, yeah.
Yeah,
Like you could so easily screw that up and not get anything out of it.
for sure.
You know
And
what I
you could
mean?
hurt your back too.
Hmm.
You could really hurt yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But is yoga a lot like that? Like, is it all technique?
You're not gonna hurt yourself, but
Right.
are you saying that maybe sometimes there's a pose or something that you can do a lot harder than what you're at right now? Kind of
I'm like
miss.
technique wise, like is yoga about technique? Like, do you get any like if you're not if can you cheat yourself really easily in yoga?
Oh, yeah, you can. It's
Okay.
all about pushing yourself.
Okay.
That's
And
the
the fact that you can cheat yourself really easily is good because then it forces that discipline constantly.
yes.
Because you know there's an easy out all the time and you're restraining yourself from doing that.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So it's both physical and mental at the same time.
Yes. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's you like translate it back to normal life. You're just more
Oh,
disciplined and you're just more of a badass. You just don't you put up with more shit. Stuff like
yes.
not a lot of stuff phases you anymore and you
Right.
just not as much stress and stuff like that. So I feel
You're
like
just better. You're just able to cope with, or not cope with it, but deal with stress in a better way.
yeah, in a healthy way. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's all mental, right?
Yeah, and at the end, yeah, like this is all everything that we're talking about right now. Working out and yoga and even meditation and working at certain things is all about doing things you really don't want to do. Because when it really comes down to it, working out, you can tell yourself like, I like working out, but you like working out because of the benefits. Like if you got no benefits, you would fucking hate it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just pain. It's just uncomfortable and it's painful.
Uh-huh.
And if you found out that like lifting weights is bad for you, you wouldn't do it the same way as like when you find out smoking cigarettes is bad for you, you still do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So all these things are things that we don't want to do, but we do them because of that. You know what I mean?
Those specific reasons.
Yeah, like just the benefits. And because we don't want to do them, that's why we do them. Do you know what I mean? Like there's like okay, so like
I'm kind of lost here.
okay, in the morning, okay, you set yourself a goal to go and work out.
Yep.
Okay, in that moment, okay, you're in a place in your own head that, okay, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week, or I'm going to do yoga 3 days a week, or whatever. You're like comfortable, you're in your room and you're looking at yourself and you're like, I want to see some changes, so I'm going to do this. So that's truly what you want.
Yes.
Now, the next morning, you might not want that in that place because you're tired or because or whatever it may be, you're hungover or whatever, you got things going on. But that does, just because you don't want to in that moment, you go because you know that you actually want to because of that. Do you get what I'm saying?
That motivation, that
Yeah, like
previous thought that you
there's
had.
there's a reason you set your alarm in the first place.
No, there's so I came about this recently, and it's to help you with motivation, and it can apply to anything.
Uh-huh.
So what it's all about is that, let's say we're talking about working out. So let's say how we can get motivated to work out. And this thing I was reading, they listed it into basically three different personalities. That's
Okay.
what they categorize it as. And you have like your lower personality, your day-to-day personality, and then you're like your righteous, like ultimate
Hmm.
being personality. And so like for your lower personality, for working out, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get buff, I'm gonna get a bunch of chicks, I'm gonna be sexy, and like testosterone boost and all that sort of things. You're just gonna be a badass. And then on the day
Okay.
to day, your motivation would be like look better, feel better, just be healthy, you know?
Right.
And that's another motivation. Then for like the righteous personality, that's like what we are talking about just a little bit ago. It's discipline, and maybe you go to inspire others and stuff like that. And
Okay.
so kind of to make a list on all three different personalities, different characteristics for your motivation to do that thing. I that's what I do on my board in my room, and I read those every morning. It gets me going every single morning.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Because the idea behind that is that no matter what personality you may find yourself in, you still have a reason to go do what you want to do.
exactly.
Yes. I
That's
remember you. Yeah, I think you showed me that.
yes.
Yeah, I
That's
love it.
right on it. Yep.
Totally. But yeah, because that's really what it is. That's why people stop things.
Yeah, they'll be in that
Because,
mood and they'll just be like, "Fuck this. I don't
hmm
want to do that." And your
That's
personality
I've
changes
I've done it, man.
for
I've
sure.
done it before. It was like my creative personality took over and was like, working out's for fucking athletes only. It's for dumb people and stuff. And it was like, no, like it's just it totally gave me an easy out. It was
For
like, oh,
sure.
okay, okay. I don't if I don't want to be dumb or whatever, I don't have to work out. I
I
just
know. I did the same thing, man. I'm like, "Oh, it's totally egotistic. Only dumb people do it to show
to
off their
look,
muscles and
yeah,
go to the beach."
yes. And that's definitely with if anybody who works out and anybody who lifts a fucking weight, if you tell me that you don't do it because you want to look good at if you're just full of shit.
Yeah.
Like that is definitely part of your motivation. I'm not saying it's all of it.
But it's there.
It's
It's
so
there.
there.
You're just not
It-
going to ignore it. Why not
right.
use it to your advantage? You know?
And that's what that thing's all about.
That's what that thing's all about.
I love it, man.
Yeah. I got
Where'd you find
Marilyn
that?
Manson on there to give me like a testosterone boost in my lower personality.
Marilyn Manson does?
Yeah.
What do you listen
If
to with your righteous? Alan Watts?
oh, um sure.
Alan Watts.
Podcast. I don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't really list it as in music for each personality.
Oh.
It was
Hmm.
just listed under testosterone boost.
Oh, he
'Cause he
will.
gets me jacked.
He
He gets me
does, dude.
going. He just gets you in that mood to start just going
Just to, yeah, for sure. Just to
Yeah.
to feel pain.
Yeah.
And but
Feel
don't look at,
pain.
yeah, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, it's definitely, and I think my favorite benefit though overall out of all of it it's got to be the energy.
The
If
energy.
if I had to pick, like, okay, what do you like the most about exercising? Is it how you start to look, how you feel, or the actual health benefits that you're getting in long term, or whatever it may be?
Oh,
I would say the amount of energy that I have in the day-to-day life.
yes.
That's my favorite thing about it.
Yes. It really
You
it
notice that, right?
surprised me how much more energy I had.
At first you don't, but it's like in a week, it's just like, what the fuck is going on
I'm
with me?
still running strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting up so early and I'm going to bed decent, like kind of late, and it's like, and I'm up again and doing it again, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, and I just love it, and I'm just, you get out of bed easier in the morning, and you fall asleep easier at night. I find like everything just moves smoother in all fields.
It's just a well oiled machine.
Yeah,
Your body
you
is.
gotta change the spark plugs, man.
No, I
You gotta keep
totally
oil.
agree, man, though. The thing that it really helped me out with, like over the summer, is just it added some discipline to my life because I was waking
Uh-huh.
up at noon, I'd wake up at 11, then I'd wake up at 1. Like there was just
Yes.
no schedule at all. And since I'm graduated and I was working with Bob, and he's iffy, it was my
Yeah.
schedule was all over the place. And
Yeah.
just to get up every day at 8 and go work out
Right.
just added so much to my life. I just felt so much more efficient, and just my time management was through the roof just because of
Yeah,
working
because
out.
it just gets you up in the morning. I think it's really good to do it in the morning.
I agree.
I really think that that's like the best time to do it because it's like it's a ritual, it's a routine, so that once you're done, now you look at the day as like a clear slate where it's like, okay, now my day can begin. So
Yeah.
when you first wake up, your day hasn't began until you're done. Like
Yes.
that's if you look at working out and getting your workout in the morning as part of like sleeping. So like you go to sleep and then your day begins when you wake up. No, you go to sleep, then you go to work out, and then your day begins.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a
So
good point.
it's not part of your day, because if you make working if you make something that you absolutely force yourself to do part of everyday things, then you're going to put them off, just like you put off going to the store, just like you put off going to the doctors or going over, doing other things.
Yeah.
So it's just become something that you have to do.
Oh, I
You
like
just,
that.
yeah,
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah, you can have it.
I'll put it
Write
on
it
my
on your
board.
Write it on your board, dude. The
Yep.
day doesn't begin until I'm done.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, definitely I think the energy is the best part. I think that I would still work out if there was no um physical advantages, like as far as like how you look or anything. If you got none of that, but when you worked out you felt this energy, I would still do it.
Yep, me too, man.
I would still do it. It would be harder. It would definitely be harder to do.
It's sometimes it's like I took a break from that working out when I came down for that week for Christmas. And then you
Oh yeah,
realize just like how good you did feel. Like you forget
it's
to
important.
stay mindful and remember like how much energy you do have and what time you get up and go to bed, that it just becomes so normal when you're working
Right.
out for a couple months that you take a break and it's like, "Oh shit, man, I got to work out. Like I feel like
Yeah.
ass. I need to get in there."
And here's the dangerous part, where you get to a point, if you take, let's say you stop working out, and then you stop for a certain, you hit a point where like you haven't been working out for like a month and a half, and then you feel like you felt like shit for so long that you forgot how good it
Yeah.
felt.
Yeah,
then
man.
then it's dangerous. And I was at that point, and I'm like, I knew that there was something about working out that was so glorious because I did it for so long, but yet I was still like so against getting back into it.
That makes me think, man, like there's some like specific rate of change that our bodies like crave. Like to the point where you know what's going on around you and you're mindful without even having to be mindful. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I think
you're
so.
constantly in this certain emotion. So like just like you're saying you stopped working out, but then you got stuck.
Yeah,
So imagine it as a peak. And like at the very top you just plateau. You're like, "Oh, I'm in this shitty mood again." And you're stuck there. And
yeah,
you don't start coming down from that until you start working out. But what if there was right before that you plateau out, you start working out right at that plateau and you start bouncing back. And then as soon as you're feeling the healthiest as you can, and before you start realizing that like, oh, this is just normal now from when you're healthy, you just take another week break or whatever. And so it's like a constant up and down from feeling shitty to feeling good. So it's like you're constantly having that uh emotion. I don't know if that's the right way to put it.
like a
That
push and a
that
pull on it.
state of being. I don't know.
I think I know what you're kind of saying that like the reason we feel the benefits is because we've felt what it's like without them in a way. Is
Yes,
that
but what if we could constantly be feeling that state change? If that makes sense.
so? No,
No.
I don't know. I don't know if I understand.
All right, so let's say you have a graph and you have 0 at the bottom and 1 at the top. All right?
Okay.
And there's just
Okay.
two lines running horizontal next to each other.
Okay.
When you're at 0, you feel like shit. All
Okay.
right? So you're at 0 and all of a sudden you start working out and you gradually start heading up towards 1. And then
Okay.
as soon as you hit 1, it's just like you have a lot of energy and stuff like that, but you don't realize it. You're just hanging
Okay.
out at 1 and you're not getting healthier because you're as healthy as you can be. So
Okay.
now take a break and then you feel that decline. You're like, "Wow, I really I was really like kicking. I was really healthy."
But
And
you
then
didn't
it's
know it. Right.
but you didn't know it. So
Yeah.
now you start heading towards 0 and then as soon as you hit 0, you're like um you start getting used to feeling shitty. So what if you just keep bounding between 2 and you're never sitting at 1 for too long. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Or you're never sitting at 0.
Yeah.
You don't want to at least.
Yeah. But it's just bet- between 0 and 1 are like the best moments, the best like uh
Oh, yes.
intuitive, like inspirational moments is when you're bounding between one or the other, not when you're just sitting at one because you don't realize what's going on.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents on that.
Okay. No, no, I see what you're saying. I see
Yeah.
so the best part is feeling the difference.
Yeah. So having cheat days in there and
Well, it's dude, okay, so it's like the best part of taking a cold shower is getting out.
yes. And the best
That's
part about eating healthy is when you eat McDonald's and you're like, "Oh my God, I feel like
oh
ass right now." And then you shit your brains out and you're like, "I'm
yeah,
never
but when
eating that again." But then in
but
a
when
month you'll eat it again and you'll be like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, that's why I don't eat that."
yeah. But
You
when you
know?
first bite into it, you're like, oh fuck.
Is your phone on?
No,
Is it on airplane mode?
my phone's not close to me.
You're cutting in and out right now.
I'll put my phone on the ground.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Sweet. So we're back on,
All right, we're back on.
right?
So are we gonna should we just start over or what? We can probably put them together.
We can put them. I can just send you the file. It's
Okay.
fine.
So yeah, no,
You
like
can.
okay, so we just had some technical difficult moments.
Technical difficulties.
There it is.
Yeah,
That's what I was looking for.
that's what I'm here for,
Thanks, Joe.
to remind you of the tech.
What was I gonna? What were we even talking about?
We're talking about health,
Right.
discipline, and 3 personalities. I don't remember
Oh
exactly
yeah.
where we left off, but
Yeah. No, it's just I just think it's it's something that I now I think why is it that there's so many really smart people and this is generalizing but there's so many really smart people that don't take care of themselves.
tons, man.
You
So many.
so many like they're just you know they'll abuse their body and they'll do drugs a lot and like harsh drugs, alcohol and stuff like that. And they'll
Yeah.
you know,
Sugar.
sugar.
That's a very abusive drug,
It
man.
is very true. I mean, you
Yeah.
say harsh drugs and then we start saying stuff that people do every day. You're probably like,
Not heroin or
what the?
cocaine.
I mean, people do these harsh drugs like caffeine and sugar and video games.
Video games.
Oh, it's such a
Not
drug.
video games.
That's a
But
drug.
I I think that too all of the time. When I'm riding my bike to the gym and I'm thinking like environmentally and I see all these people driving cars, they get like really close to me. I'm like, fucking asshole. I'm
Yeah,
riding my bike on the road and these cars just ripping by me
right.
and I start like I'm trying to be mindful and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, why am I getting so angry at this? I'm like, I'm stuck in it's like an ego trip. I'm thinking I'm in the right here since I have my bike that I'm more environmental, therefore why aren't you guys riding bikes?
Right.
But you you can't put yourself in those situations. It's egotistic.
It's hard not to.
It's so hard not
It's
to.
so hard not to. Like
Like if
you'll
you
start
start talking to somebody, it's like you've never ever meditated. How do you live?
Oh, it's like
I'm not
I
friends with
dude,
you.
I find myself like I'll like really get into the habit of meditating a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then like whenever I like hear something terrible or like someone is I'll like see something on the news, I will like say some bizarre shit like, oh, meditating would fix that. Like oh
I know.
those people don't know. They don't
Yeah,
meditate. And it's like that's the exact opposite of what you should be thinking when you're meditating.
yeah.
You
But
know?
it's those ego trips that you get stuck into all of the time. It's
Yes.
constantly happening.
Yes.
And it's such an iffy area. Like I don't know how to go about it.
It's so gray. Everything's gray. And when it comes to like ego and like being mindful and stuff like that, I realize that like it's so about like the situation and the person and
It is.
it's not black and white, it's not X's and O's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that person speeding by me could have had a mother in their car giving birth.
Right.
She's going to the hospital, and I'm like, "Fuck you! You're not even on a bike, like you environmentalist pig! You're just wasting gas."
Fucking put her in the basket. Get a
Yeah,
bike with a basket on it and put your wife in there.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's just
It's
like the more that I read about Eastern philosophy and like some people who have like really practiced meditation and stuff like that, that they, the way that they explain it is so, it's all about the individual. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that's why I like it is because it's not very strict. You know what I mean? Like it can be strict, but like there is no one way to meditate. I love that.
yeah.
I
I
love that
like,
it's not like something that like it's not like going to church. It's not like prayer and like saying a certain prayer or something like that.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
like there. Joe Rogan was talking to, is it Sam Harris?
Yes, Sam Harris and Dan Harris. There's two of them.
But both of them were on the podcast, right?
Yeah, yeah. That one, yeah, that I showed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's like, yeah, I'll be thinking about some line for my stand up and I'll go on my isolation tank and I'll think about that and meditate on it. And Sam's like, that's not meditation.
Yeah, that was Dan that said that.
Or Dan.
Yeah.
Dan. One of them said it and I'm like, what? It could
Yeah.
be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I caught that too. And but then when yeah, because Dan Harris kind of set up a definition for meditation, which I mean, he knows probably more about it all than I do. I guarantee he does actually. But
Yeah.
I just
Me
think
too.
that I just think that that's I think I don't agree with that one part of it that there's a way to meditate. There isn't.
There is,
There's not one way. There can't be. It's a state of mind. That's all it is.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's different for every single person, right?
I would think so. I
Like
don't
when you meditate, I remember you're saying that you see your thoughts, like you're walking down a hallway and you see,
that's happened before, yeah.
but
Not every
it
time.
changes. It changes,
Right.
right?
What?
to the way that you're viewing your stream of thought. It's always it always has to change too. Like that one way won't always work.
Right, right. Yeah, because you will just kind of become numb to it in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. You just get bored with it and it stops working. But then
Yeah.
you come about this new way, like I was telling you about the hourglass.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then the hourglass and
Explain that real quick. That's
yeah,
really good.
yeah. With the hourglass, you wake up in the morning and the top portion is completely empty. There's no sand in it or anything. Your hourglass is it's a clean slate, like you were talking about earlier. And throughout the day, slowly sand starts building up in this hourglass, depending on like, oh, I gotta fix my car today. Oh, I need money. I'm thinking about money. When's my paycheck coming in? Oh, I have to go to the gym too. And like all of this stress and all this stimulation. You just watch a TED talk and
Right.
you're like, oh, I want to keep this in the back of my mind. And it gets thrown in there too. And stuff at work, and then before you know it, this hourglass has thousands of little tiny grains of sand in it,
Right.
and and you just don't know what to do with it all, and you don't realize it's there. But then you go home, and this is what happens with me. Before I go to bed or after work and stuff, I'll just sit down, I'll meditate, and all of those past experiences and stimulation from the day, I just watch them slowly tick to the bottom portion of the hourglass, and I like I had this mental image and it's all blocked up and slowly things start coming down and all of a sudden you'll see a rock. A rock will come in and it's like something from super super long ago that you've hid away for forever and you're like, "Holy shit, this was buried beneath all of that sand." And it's like super strong and you have to break that down. But then as soon as you I reach like this point where the top portion of my hourglass is empty and it becomes euphoric and it's like there's no more thoughts to think. It's just my mind's silent and it's yeah
That's good.
it's absolutely
You
amazing.
so you've actually so okay. I didn't know. So you've had parts like times when you're meditating where you come across something that hasn't been in your attention span in a long time that is maybe bothering you, but you weren't sure of it. Like
Yes,
you've dug something up in meditation.
for sure, man.
Oh man,
Like
I
back to high school.
really
Yeah,
see. Isn't that weird? How like in your day to day life, how often what do you think the probability is that you're going to think about anything related to high school in a regular day? It's like it's
exactly.
like zero. Have
Absolutely, because you have your phone, you have a TV, you're watching a new series, you're watching Game of Thrones. Like all of this stimulation is thrown at you. You just don't sit and think,
right.
you know?
And even something like high school or something like something from your past, you're not going to think of it. And then it's weird that once you sit down and quiet your mind, that your consciousness will bring that up to your attention so you can handle it.
Yeah. You're like digging.
I've never had that happen. I
Really?
haven't had something, not in meditation. I don't, not that I'm really sure of, that's something that has come to my attention that I wasn't aware of. I haven't
It
had that.
gets really personal and then you like want to stop meditating. You're
Okay.
like, "Oh man,
It really
I
bugs.
forgot I forgot about this." But then you just deal with it.
Yeah.
And then you try to take that all of that negative energy and you try to turn it into like a motivation.
Okay.
So on a personal scale, it had to do with how like hungry and how I'd do just about anything just to make some money.
Uh-huh.
And it came down to like making like scammy programs. I don't know if you remember that,
Yeah.
where people download it and I make $1, but the program didn't do shit. And I was making a bunch of money off of it. I'm like, wow, that's really fucked up. I was doing that for so long, just scamming all these people. And I just sat there and thought about it. I'm like, wow, just this part of me
So
that will
unethical.
yeah, that's so
Yes.
unethical and it will just do anything it can to take advantage of people just to make some money.
Right.
And so I'm trying, I found that part of me, and I like made peace with it. And it's not that it's gone. It's just now I can control it and
Right.
I steer it. It's like, oh, it's just my motivation for money kicking in. That's why I just had that thought,
Right.
and I just pass it along, and it's just like
Right.
off with you.
It's no longer a thought that will come in and cause fear or cause resentment or disgust or guilt or whatever these negative emotions are. Now it's something that can you can attribute something that you used to be or something about you that you probably still are to that. And you can say,
Yeah.
okay, well now I learned from that. I can see why I did that. And now since you had that experience, you're less likely to behave that way in the future.
It won't control my life anymore.
Right.
It's just that thing that's like, oh yeah, here comes those thoughts again
Right.
and this is the reason why I'm thinking that. Well, I'm just not gonna follow that through. I'm not gonna bring that into my reality anymore,
Right.
which is all actions are, right?
Yeah, it's just acting on impulses in a way. Or like
Yes,
it's like
exactly.
cuz like okay, we walk around thinking like that like thoughts after a thought occurs an action is required. A
Yes.
lot that's like a pattern of thinking. And like an OCD type thinking is like an extreme is like a on steroids of that. Like every thought requires an action. So
Huh.
like yeah, so what you realize is when you meditate is that thoughts thoughts are nothing without action. And that's something I learned through meditation is like if I'm sitting here right now, I'm having a conversation with you and
Uh-huh.
and you're talking to me and all of a sudden I feel a little bit hungry and I'm like I'm hungry for like some steak or whatever. I'm
Some
hungry
Cheez-Its.
for some Cheez-Its. I'm not going to literally just get up in the middle of you talking and go get Cheez-Its. That's just
Yeah.
I just don't do that. But I had a thought about it. I want Cheez-Its, but I don't. So when you're inside your own head, you have to look at it like that as well.
For
You
sure.
know what I mean? Like you can't just react to every single thought you have and every single person that comes into your life. You have to get away from being reactionary and assess things and break things down, like you said with the hourglass and yeah, man,
Just
it's a
you really think things through, man,
it's a
and
crazy world.
changes your life.
Yes.
Totally changes your life. You learn who you are,
Uh-huh.
and it's it's absolutely amazing, man. It's definitely changed my life.
Yeah. Oh, it's blows me away how much it
Yeah.
just changes. I don't know. It's weird. You can't put your finger on what it's changing, but it's like your whole attitude about what you are is changing.
We're
And
not humans anymore. We're just a
no,
big network.
yeah, yeah, in a way. But like it's you would think that if you start meditating and you start to like think you're better than other people and you don't notice it, like you realize we realize like if we start doing silly things like oh you don't even meditate or whatever, that
Uh-huh.
once we realize that's the ego and we get rid of that.
Yeah.
But if
Exactly.
if you're like falling into that trap or like meditation becomes an image, then you're going about it all wrong. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
So like the thing that I realized once I started meditating, I realized that generosity is something that's really big, and that is I was like angry all the time, like at stupid things like my fucking like it's just stupid little things would just really get on my nerves, and I'm like
Someone drank your Coke that you had saved.
yeah, so I mean I don't drink Coke, but yeah, something like that would get on my nerves. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I'm like, why am I so angry? All and so I started meditating and thinking about it, and I realized that I was thinking about myself constantly, and I was trying to fix what like I was like trying to like control all these things. I was trying to keep my room just the way I like. I was trying to have everything this way and not, and I just was kind of just trying to control and not let anything come in.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I was like, fucking leave me alone. I'm going to bed. Fucking don't touch my shit. Don't touch my, I was just being a dick. And
Yeah,
and and it was like because I was trying to control all these external things in my life. And then I was like, man, it's never ending. I'll never have control of it.
for
So
sure.
I came around. I'm like, I just need to be more. Maybe if I'm more generous, then I can let go, and maybe then I won't feel so angry. And I came to that in
Okay.
like meditation, and I started doing that, and it totally just. I don't know if it was like you said, like it could be placebo, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know, man. It just really it opened up. Like I wasn't. I was more like when something that would happen that would probably make me angry would happen, there was like a space in between where I could think before reacting and manifesting anger.
Wow.
I could stop and be like, okay, do I want to get angry? And then I wouldn't. I would say, nah, it's no big deal. And then I would move on. And it was like really, it was good.
That's what that process right there of you observing your mind, your like stream of thought.
Uh huh.
I think that exact process is what separates us from computers. So a computer is like the stream of thought. It's constantly working.
Uh
It's
huh.
constantly retrieving data from the internet. It's constantly changing processes and all of this stuff.
Mm hmm.
But there's no not external, no other piece of hardware that's observing
Mm hmm.
the process of the computer, so that like maybe here's an example. This app on my phone, it's a weather app, and like every 10 seconds or something, I was like, there's packets that get sent from your phone, uh, that are just Wi-Fi packets, and it's just data. It's just that's how Wi-Fi works. It's just packets getting sent to the router to the
Okay.
internet,
Okay.
and you can monitor that through your phone. And like, I just monitored my phone for 10 seconds, and this weather app sent like probably 10 or 15 different packets to like find the weather. And if there was something just observing that stream of processes constantly, it would notice like, oh, maybe I don't need to send all these packets all of the time. I can just send one when the weather app opens up,
Right.
and it would change that programmatically on the spot, instead of the designer going in to that weather app and changing it from there. That makes sense.
I think it's kind of.
So it's kind of just like how we've been talking, being mindful. It's just you you realized you weren't being so generous, and you didn't know that you weren't being generous until you started observing
Right.
that you were being selfish.
Right.
And as soon as you started observing it, that's when things started changing. The computer is set in stone. It's going to always be selfish if it's programmed to be selfish. It'll never change unless somebody goes in and codes it to act more generous. But then it's always going to be generous and not be selfish. There's no learning going behind it. There's nothing observing it. That
Right.
makes
Right.
sense.
Because it's kind of like that split. Like when you are meditating, you you're observing your thoughts. Like we're saying, like it's kind of a split. I don't want to say split personality because that gives you the wrong idea. Because that's got like negative looks on it. But like
Yeah.
there's like even like in Ethan Nick Turner's book,
Mm-hmm.
he really talks as if like there's more than one of you inside of you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he gives you and like in like the Western thought of like psychology, I would think that that would be looked at as like schizophrenia. You know what I mean? Like that
It's
would
a
be looked. It's
disease.
bad, but like there really is different. There's so many layers to a person, and I totally understand what you mean by the computers. Like we're not. I don't know a whole lot about computers, but I know that I'm pretty certain that I think different than a computer would.
For sure.
I mean, I got a lot of emotions going on, a lot of different interests going on, and a lot of, yeah, there's just a lot more. You know what I mean? And when, so back to like the observing, like a computer can't observe itself is what, kind of what you're saying, right?
Yes.
So that would be what separates a computer from a person.
A
And
person,
and
yeah.
is that's what you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the whole idea behind AI is that it's self-taught and it's constantly learning,
Right.
but it's I feel like there needs to be another piece of hardware, something totally unrelated to the that exists in the system that is just for that specific reason
To observe it.
to observe the actual what's going on the computer. Yeah.
Okay. Something.
Then it comes to the point where like you're in your stream of thoughts. Am I just stopping that stream of thoughts and then thinking about that stream and then it starts continuing again and then you like stop the stream and then you think about the past whatever 30 seconds of what was on the stream and then the stream continues. I don't know. It
Yeah.
probably doesn't make sense, but
No, it makes sense. Like, are is it much simpler than we're actually saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I know
Could
what you
just
mean.
be on the same stream.
Yeah, because like you could just be when you're meditating, you could be distracting yourself from thinking by your breathing techniques or by whatever it is that you're doing to like anchor that monkey brain and kind of separate. Um, are you just stop? Are you kind of just distracting yourself by doing something like that's repetition? You know what I mean? Like so breathe
Sort of.
like a breathing technique is like the reason that like when you start meditating and you start breathing and doing a breathing technique is it's kind of occupying your mind to not think. Like I notice that like I stop when my thoughts stop, it's when I'm doing my breathing.
Yeah.
You know, do you
Yeah.
is the same for you?
Totally.
Yeah,
As soon
so
as you're focused on your breath.
but at the same time you are focused on your breath. But I'm not thinking about it. It's weird.
Yes. So
I,
that's why I think they're separate. I don't it's it's, it's all philosophy. It's all just
right.
opinion, you know? It's there's no in
Yeah,
the
I
Western
don't know.
world there's no science backing it up, but in the Eastern world it totally just makes sense.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
there and you just know. I don't know.
Yeah. That's pretty spiritual too.
Yeah. What if how you know how everyone has these streams of thoughts going all the time?
Yeah.
What if in reality there was some alien spaceships light years away broadcasting this stream and that's just what we're picking up on and eventually they want us to hate each other and then just push that button to set the nuke off and then come take our planet.
Where'd you hear that? You come up with
What?
that? Did you come up with that?
I just thought of it.
Jeez, that's dark. So like all our thoughts are being broadcasted
To us.
to us. So we're nothing.
We're nothing.
We're like,
We're just receiving some stream from some aliens that don't like us.
oh, dude, that's sad. That's a sad ending.
It's Black Mirror right there.
Dude, yeah, exactly.
We gotta
We,
edit that part out, make
we,
our episode.
yeah, that sounds good. No, but like, yeah, I know what you mean. All these things that we're talking about, the working out, the meditation, the yoga, these are all, here's the weird part. These are all kind of towards self-betterment. You
So
notice,
it's
don't, I know that's an ego type, kind of thinking like an ego, but it is, I mean, you do
I'm
meditate
not an
because,
ego.
yeah, you know what I meant. I know I said that wrong.
Yeah.
That's,
I could have swore I wasn't an ego. Thought I was a Joe.
oh, I hate you, dude. Ah, but
I'm sorry.
no. So these are all things that are kind of directed towards improving oneself. Even when you meditate, you're trying to improve either on how you react with people you love, or how you react with strangers, or how you more health, or how you deal with your anxieties in a healthy way. Like all,
Yeah,
and it's all like it's all going towards betterment. And like
it
working
is.
out is going towards betterment. yoga, all just all of these things.
It'll better yourself, but it'll also better people around you though if you're meditating.
Meditating for sure, yeah.
Just that specific example, but that goes back to like the righteous personality. That could be your motivation for meditating is that you're very calm and collective so that you're not angry and stuff with other people, which then in turn makes them angry, you know?
Right, right,
So you could say both ways. It could be egotistic and it could just be like I need to do this to make other people happy.
right, right, right.
So
Okay, I see what you're
two
saying.
two two-edged sword, you know?
Yeah, it's weird.
It is
It's
weird.
when you talk about motivations, that's such a good way of putting it. And if you start to think like that, that will help you stick to things that you actually want to achieve.
Yes, I
Because
know.
there is so many things that they are going to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, because I am so guilty of that. Like I do that all the time, where I will switch gears out of nowhere, and it's like shit. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I do that all the time. Like I'll just be super into one thing, and then I wake up one day and that
I'm
thing
like,
I
what happened?
don't even like it anymore, and I gotta find a way to like it.
Yeah,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna wake up one of these days, and I'm gonna not like working out a lot. I'm gonna hate it, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to find a way to still get in my car and go and drive and then come home and do my routine. I found that
That's
like
when
when after I work out, I read now. So I come
oh,
home and then I read for like 45 minutes, and
oh, I
that's a
like
good
that.
routine. Yeah, try that
Yeah.
because it's kind of best of both worlds, you know.
Yeah, for sure. There's actually been a book I've been trying to read a lot more often. Remember that I actually bought it from a guy that was on Joe Rogan talking about Bitcoin,
Okay.
Andreas Antonopoulos, I believe. But yeah, I've been trying to read that just to learn more about blockchain technology because I really think that that technology is going to change the world.
Yeah, you have been saying that.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know a lot about it. Tell me about it.
yeah, for me to explain how I think it's going to change the world, you just have to understand like not necessarily Bitcoin will change the world, but the underlying technology of blockchain.
Okay.
So what the blockchain is, you can just picture it as a like a skyscraper or like a tower. And the thing at the very bottom is called the Genesis block, and that's just the foundation for the blockchain. That's just what everything sits on. But after that, you have all of these agents. So these agents are just anybody that wants to use a blockchain. They're building this thing, and it's not just one person; it's the entire community. Everyone that wants to use this blockchain, and they're building it, and they every time they build a block, they get this incentive. So if we put it in terms of Bitcoin, it's all of these transactions being sent, get bundled in a block, and then that block gets set on the next one on the tower. And the cool thing about it is that as soon as you're like, let's say I sent you $100 and then that got on the blockchain, it's there, it's established. And now four more blocks sit on top of that. To be able to reverse that transaction is impossible because of all of those. You'd have to take all four of those blocks off, change that transaction, then put all four of those blocks back on, and they would be different blocks. They would be rebuilt blocks. So it's 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 pretty much impossible to um, rebuild those blocks.
Okay.
And so when you're setting transactions, everything is like 10 blocks or below, that's ultimate trust. You know for a fact that those will never change.
Okay.
And the cool thing about it is that it's decentralized and that anybody can build this tower. So everyone is building this structure, if that makes sense.
Well,
And
this is
it's
a metaphor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
This
right.
is the tower being built.
Right.
It's pretty much what blockchain is.
Okay.
But when you apply it to the actual world, just the financial system, when you talk about using your debit card, you're using what you have Wells Fargo. Or no, you have Genesis, right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
For what? My
Your
debit?
debit card.
I don't have a debit card. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So I have a debit card and I
Yeah.
use the Genesis Bank.
Okay.
So if I want to send you money, I have I have my funds in Genesis, and what they do is that I Genesis will send you the money.
Okay.
With the blockchain, it's the entire community that says, "Oh, Joe wants to send Cody money." And so it's not it's not centralized through the Genesis Bank. And if you do centralize it like that, that's when you can have um, like the finances. They can change different transactions like previously, and their ledger it isn't public. So like they can fake accounting records and shit like that
Right.
to get away with murder basically.
Okay.
And when instead you're using this public ledger, which a ledger is just like your bank account statement, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like you see your statement, you spent $10 at Walmart, and then you spent $20 at the gym for your membership or whatever. It's a basically a tower.
Okay.
It's just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's just how it would change it for finance. But the thing is that it could replace any platforms which we receive our information. So that includes like Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things. Because whenever I want to like share an article like on Facebook, it goes to Facebook, and then from Facebook, people see it depending on their recent history and shit like that. Like they are capable of seeing what you see on your feed. So let's say I'm super uh, right hand and conservative, and I post an article, and your Facebook profile is super liberal, then you probably won't see my article just because you probably wouldn't like it. So Facebook will edit it out of your feed.
Right.
And if this if this if Facebook was to use some sort of blockchain, then it's completely public and everyone's seeing the same exact feed.
Okay.
If that makes
That
sense.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And it could literally replace lots and lots of platforms. And there's actually a really cool one right now. I was just listening about it when I was working out earlier, and it's called Ignite Ratings. And what it is oh, this is gonna be hard to explain. They have their own cryptocurrency, which is like Bitcoin.
Okay.
But let's say let's put it in terms of shit you're buying from the store. So you go to the store and you have to buy some brown rice. And there's like 30 different brands. Let's say three different brands. And they're all the same price and you just don't know which one to buy. So what you do is that you go onto this ratings app and there's a bunch of people on there that leave really great reviews on it, and that's all dependent on if they received more upvotes or more downvotes. So the person with more upvotes is going to be at the top, obviously. So let's say you scan this brown rice and they're really shitty to their workers. So what happens is that someone posts an article that like, hey, they're over in Asia, they don't even pay the people that farm the rice paddies or whatever,
Right.
and you're exposed to that. And there's no editing or filtering out. It's all just dependent on that upvote system. And where the blockchain comes in is that there's actually every time there's an upvote, that person receives a small, tiny, like a penny transaction. They receive a penny for every single one of those upvotes. So now there's like an incentive to leave reviews for products that,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, because they benefit
So
from it.
yeah, so
Right.
it's the entire community that's reviewing these products now compared to if you compare it to financial, like Wolf of Wall Street, not Wolf of Wall Street, I'm sorry, The Big Short.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember those reviewing companies that they the banks paid them to review their loans, but since
Oh,
they're
yeah,
paying
yeah, yeah.
them, they had to give them a triple A or whatever, a double A. So it removes that incentive behind uh, a single person paying another one to review their shit.
Right. Okay.
Instead, it's the whole community rating it.
It's so much more. It's gonna be truthful because it's set up to kind of eliminate any kind of like bias. Right.
Yes,
Right. It sounds like
it
it's like a public opinion.
it doesn't even need it doesn't need any trust in the system, since the most trustworthy things are going to be at the top just because they're quality content. It's like
Right.
a it filters out all the bullshit.
With yeah, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
So
is this gonna be something that the big sites like Google and Facebook and Twitter, they're gonna adopt this, you think?
if they do, then um, that would mean that they can't dictate like what you see on Google when you search I don't know, podcasts.
Yeah, anything. You could have said any word ever.
I know.
Yeah, okay. Because
But
right now they have a lot of control of what we see.
exactly.
Okay,
And since they're the dominance of the internet, people could pay them and be like, oh, whenever someone searches this, I want my name to be at the top. But instead, the community would dictate who is at the top,
right.
which is huge, just huge change in how the internet is right now.
Yeah, the internet's always been it's always seemed pretty open, but it's always been controlled by something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I mean, I don't know a whole lot, but I don't think a big corporation like Google ain't gonna give that up.
exactly.
Is that what you're thinking too? I mean, I don't understand it nearly as well as you do, but it just doesn't sound like it's in their interest. They're gonna lose a lot of power when
Yeah,
something like yeah.
they could lose pretty much everything.
So what's your take
So
on it? What's gonna happen?
that's what I think is going to happen. It's just that, well, right now with this blockchain, it's very linear. So it's just stacks on top of each other.
Uh-huh.
But that's not how a database works. An actual database, it's more like a tree. So it has lengths different lengths of branches and roots and stuff like that. And it's not just one tower. It's a tree.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as there's something that is completely decentralized, that you can build a database like a tree structure with where anyone can build it, I think that's really what's gonna take over everything. Any sort of content,
Right.
which is all that the internet is.
Right.
It's just content shown on your phone or your laptop or whatever.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah,
man.
I butchered that a lot,
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, I would not be able to tell if you did.
we'll
So,
have to
how
cover that again. But
how well known is this? I mean, how many people are talking about this?
um, I mean, right now, every like um, every financial investor is looking for technologies with Bitcoin. Like there's multi-million dollar hedge funds in Grand Rapids that want to make like blockchain or make Grand Rapids the blockchain city of the US.
Right.
They're searching and searching for technologies to use and to profit off of, which is a whole nother talk with like you can privatize blockchains to where like only your business can see the chain of transactions and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But there's lots and lots of money getting dumped into it right now, which is probably because Bitcoin had taken off so much. It almost touched 20 grand, and
Where's it at?
that
Where's it at
that made
now?
everyone talking about. I think it's I wouldn't know for sure. I think it's around
So
1300.
okay, so it's not where it once was.
No, it's at yeah, it's at $13,020 right now.
Okay. 1320?
Not 1300. I'm sorry, 13,000.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it didn't quite hit 20 grand, but it went up so much just to get people talking about it.
It was up really high recently, right?
Yeah, that was like a month ago.
Yeah, I remember you looking it up when you were here and it was
It
like
was just
super high.
yeah, it was just going crazy. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing for Bitcoin, I think, because it's not even a currency.
Right.
Like to even send a transaction, you have to pay if you want to send like $100 transaction, you have to pay $20 worth of mining fees for it. So it's not even practical as a currency anymore. It's more of like an asset, like
Okay.
something that you invest into
Okay.
instead of using it to buy coffee, if you know what I mean.
Right, yeah, you get it yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. It's an asset. Yeah, that you said it the best
Yeah.
way. Yeah, because it's not
Yeah.
it's not something that you would buy anything with. It's something that you can it's worth a lot when you have it. But
Yeah.
okay.
You're not going to be spending it every day.
Right.
You're going to have a plan, you're going to buy it on this dip and you're going to hold it for until it hits this point and then you're going to sell it. It's just
Right.
a way to make money now.
Okay, so that's not going to last long then.
But there's so many other currencies. There's so many other cryptocurrencies, which there's one called Ethereum, which is exactly like Bitcoin in the sense of transactions,
Who
but
who
there are these things called
who comes up with
OOF.
these? Who like how does a
OOF.
cryptocurrency even start?
They have an initial coin offering, which
Okay.
is like they're about to launch, and it's like it's pretty much a stock. You know, when stocks have the initial launch, it's like, oh, we're launching today, so everyone pile in a bunch of money, and usually they shoot up, so people are will easily buy it, and then after that offering, then it has value.
Right.
So that's how it all begins. It's just that people put a bunch of money into it,
Right.
and it's all determined on its value system. So there's cryptocurrencies that when you mine it, you're not using your GPU, you're using your CPU, which kind of beats out competition. There's things like there's all sorts of stuff that uh, cryptocurrencies differ from each other. There's proof of work and proof of stake, and there's so much to it. It's so complex because anybody can operate on the system. So for anyone in the world to be able to build this blockchain right now, it has to compensate for any computer at the exact same time trying to build it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super complex. But
Jeez, man.
yeah, it's a
That's a
whole
lot.
nother world.
It really is. It's so inhumane too. It's so like
Inhumane?
it's just so it's not inhumane like in a negative way. I shouldn't have said that. It's so yeah, it's just so like beyond human. You know what I mean? Like it's I know people it's just so I don't know, I'm butchering this, but like
It's inhumane.
it's so not it's so not I don't know how to say it. Dude,
But it's the underlying philosophy of it is very simple.
yeah, but it's so not simple.
It isn't. As soon as
No.
dude, Bitcoin's at $12,950 now.
Wow.
It just went down over $100, something like that.
That's so weird.
Right?
It's just this whole, it's everything's in a constant state of flux,
Not
man.
It's up $20 now. It just went up 20 bucks. Now it's down 10. Anyways.
Dude, fuck that. Fuck that life.
Crazy.
That's not, that's,
No, man.
it's not for me.
Mm-mm.
That's not for me.
It's it could really change things. So
That's, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
I think in the future, with so many things heading towards technology, that your normal everyday desk job is going to be a coding job. Like all of the kids growing up right now, they're going to be so much more involved with coding
Uh-huh.
that just getting a normal like everyday job is going to be coding, whether it's coding for a factory or a car plant or a website. Like it's become so simple now that like so many people can do it. Not to bring down Juicy, but remember his dad,
I,
Juicy's dad?
yeah, no, his dad. What about him?
Yeah, he was a software programmer.
Oh, okay.
If you get what I'm saying, like he's not the
Yeah,
brightest guy, but
yeah, he's just a nice
he
guy.
he's capable of coding and using code and
Right,
speaking the language.
right,
So
right. Okay,
like
so,
we're at that point that if you're just taught at a young age that anyone can learn the language and learn how to code.
wow, man.
Yeah. And it's so involved with everything we use that I just feel like it's gonna be that normal job.
Yeah, it's gonna be like,
It's gonna be
it's
accounting
it's
or it's
gonna be
gonna
like it's
be a
gonna be like
secretary.
it's gonna be like technology now, where the older generations right now don't really know how technology works, but all of the younger generations, it's obvious because we're brought up with it. It's gonna be kind of
Yeah.
like that, where like coding is is not a big deal. It's like it's just a normal tool as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and then
People are gonna be
all these
like, you
old
don't even
people
know
are,
what coding is?
yeah,
Code?
you're gonna be like showing
Grandpa code?
you're gonna be showing your grandparents how to code, and they're gonna be like, what's C plus plus? That's
Yeah.
the only code word I know. It's C plus plus, because I hear you and Shane fucking say it every time you guys hang out.
It's a language.
I know it's a language, but that's the only word I could
C
say.
plus plus.
What is the C plus plus shit?
It's so true though.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it'll be that. It'll
Back in my day, we had iPhone 7s.
I
Oh, that's gonna be weird, man.
don't
It's
know.
it's it's like that I saw on Family Guy, they did like a flashback, and Stewie was like 80 years old, and he was like looking out the window, and these kids drove by listening to the music of their time, and Stewie's like, these kids these days listen to this music. Back in my day, we had people like Justin Bieber, Hannah Montana. That was real music. And it's so true, man.
Yeah,
It's so true that like it's so impermanent. Everything's gonna change
it
always,
does.
and it's everything's even the clothes that people are wearing, the music that people are listening to, the technology. I mean, even the foods, you notice, like I never noticed that with food, but like avocados came in, and now they're going a little bit like just
Kale. People
kales.
love kale.
What the fuck, man? Like I feel like it's always like something that we were getting into, and then it happens.
Super trendy.
Yeah, but I was getting into kale, and then I heard about it.
Oh, so you're above them
I'm
since you heard about it first.
oh, it's just because I meditate.
Yeah. You meditate, dude. You can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Dude,
Ohms?
I was listening to this is so funny.
What?
It's not gonna be funny how I explain it, but it's just hilarious. So Rogan was talking to Wim Hof,
Uh-huh.
and Rogan, it was towards the end of the podcast, and like Rogan was kind of talking to the guy that works for him too. I think it was like Jamie or Brian. But he said we got to introduce Wim Hof to, and then he named like this like bodybuilder guy, and he was basically just saying like they would have a lot to talk about,
Uh-huh.
and you can just hear Wim Hof. He just goes, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, man," and but he said it in like kind of a timid way, and then they were just talking, and then Joe Rogan asked Wim Hof if he knows who he is. And he's like, not yet. Dude, like it was
Dude, I
so,
love that guy.
dude, the way he's, cause like, oh yeah, dude, that guy is such a personality, man.
He's
I,
one of a kind.
he's so beautiful,
He's a beautiful human being.
and he's got a lot going for him now, man. I think his method is getting a lot bigger. That's good. I don't know.
Yeah, so many people are just okay with meditation now. Wim Hof isn't that far from it.
No, yeah, that's one thing. Like meditation is kind of becoming a trend, and yoga. I noticed that
Yoga.
yoga is very trendy right now.
Yes.
But it's okay. Don't go against it. It's too good to just say fuck that because other people are doing it.
There's a new place that just opened up, Marquette.
A yoga
A, yo-
studio?
There's like 3 or 4 up here.
Yeah. Is
And
it
just like
mostly chicks in there?
actually one of my friends is he's gonna be a teacher there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was that loud?
Yeah. He's gonna be an instructor or whatever.
Okay, that'll
He's
be
gonna be
cool.
a yogi?
Is that what they call them?
I don't know.
I could see our cousin doing that.
Ashley.
Yeah, I could so see her.
She would love it.
She would.
All right, man.
All right, we covered it.
I'm out of words.
I am too. I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm sleepy too.
Dude, we're gonna have to like do another podcast about blockchain because
Yeah, just
I kind of just got bored talking about it while I was going.
okay.
I have to redo that.
There's a lot. There's a lot to it.
It's like its own podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll have to make sure I'm like really sharp for it.
Okay.
All right.